My call sign is Otaman. I'm the commander of the engineering and sapper platoon. I became a military sapper because I really wanted to protect Ukraine directly in the war zone. When I came to this unit, I was offered this position and I thought that this is exactly what I would like to do. The main task of a military sapper is to protect our infantry from enemy assaults so that no one can attack them, at least imperceptibly. Technically, this means that you need to mine the entire front line. This story took place in a deep gray area about 400 meters in front of the front line. I took my comrade with me and we went on a mission. Our cover group was a bit behind. We went forward, put mines, and then I realized that mortar shelling has started against us. At first, the mines exploded somewhere at a distance of 200 meters from us. I got a little tense, and I think we need to get out of there. And I shout, guys, let's get out of here. The explosions kept getting closer and closer, and in the final of this, we were running down an open road. Drones were flying overhead and mines flying everywhere. The scene was like from American movies, where you run and behind you there are explosions and everything is on fire. At that moment, we were running non-stop because we understood that if we froze somewhere for a second, it would be the end of our story. And so we ran to our first line positions, to our trenches, jumped there and lit a cigarette with such pleasure. We thought that was all. We survived and did our job, saved our infantry. In other words, we were 100% satisfied with ourselves. We returned to a relatively safe zone. And then a new task comes to me, to place even more anti-personnel mines again in the morning, nearly in the same place where we were. And all this was physically a little difficult after such a day, because we go and carry all the mines ourselves. But work is work. We understand why we do it and how important it is. Having rested a little, gathering our will, we took the mines and went in the morning to perform a new task. After we installed the mines, we had one more, the OZM-72. We love them very much because of their weight. And then my partner tells me, I hear voices. I take off the protective earpiece, listen and hear that the enemy is really walking somewhere close to us. They were walking, shouting something to each other, and I understand that they are already quite close. And all this happened 400 meters in front of our positions. We quickly walked back, and then the enemy began an assault. They were not just passing by, it was a planned attack on our positions. We didn't have time to run into the trenches when they started assaulting. Enemy artillery began to work, drones and grenades were flying. In response, our infantry began to shoot in the direction of the enemy to repel the assault. And at that time, we were in the center between all of this. We understood that if Russian equipment also appeared, then nothing would save us. That's why we ran under these shellings. Everything explodes everywhere, drones fly, but we run to ours, jump into the trench, and together with the infantry begin to stop the attack of the invaders. And you know what I liked most about all of this was the look on the faces of our infantrymen. There were 4 men there without us, and when they saw that 4 more men had joined them, they were so happy that they were not alone. Then we all together successfully repelled the assault, and the enemy never went there again. War has changed a lot. People who fought in 2022 and those who are fighting now are fundamentally different levels of soldiers. And this can be said about both sides. The enemy has a lot of drones. Sappers feel all changes critically. Previously, we could carry everything by transport, calmly go out, making sure that there was no enemy, set up mines, carry out our work, and calmly go out. Now just to get to the front line and bring everything you need with you is a challenge for survival. The enemy is constantly trying to control both the front line and our logistics zone. They're constantly trying to launch a drone towards us, bypass the electronic security system, try to monitor what has happened. On the other hand, there are many innovations directly in our work as well. More attention is paid precisely to advanced sapper units, remote mining. This is done using both aerial and ground drones. And this is a really cool thing. The future is in remote mining. Firstly, it saves sappers' lives, because sappers don't have to risk their lives to complete a mission. Remote mining in real life now looks like this. You take POM-2, anti-personnel mines. I don't have them with me here right now, but you can Google what they are like. Initially, such a mine is attacked to the drone. Then the sapper who controls the drone directs it to a point, makes a throw at the right moment. The mine is placed on duty and waits for the enemy to come to the area where it was placed. This is how you can work with anti-personnel mines. And with the help of large drones, air mining is now carried out with the help of TM-62 and other anti-tank mines. In this way, it's possible to protect the territory that sappers cannot physically enter or from which it's impossible to return alive. With the help of drones, it's possible to cover large areas of the territory through which the enemy will no longer pass until demining it. This is the future. I'm trying to follow this direction as well. Carrying all this weight is probably the most tiring thing for us. Because in addition to the fact that sappers have the heaviest individual armor protection, we also carry mines that need to be installed. It's really not easy. And the second actual difficulty is enemy drones. What are you doing here? They made our work very difficult. Even without hearing that it's flying nearby, you are always tense, because it can fly at any moment, and it's very scary. The main anti-personnel mines we have are the American directional anti-personnel claymore mines. I think it's quite well known. It's put in a controlled version with wires on the front line. When the enemy tries to approach us, it's used. After that, the enemy usually no longer wants to attack us at that place for some reason. Another popular mine is the Soviet-manufactured OZM-72 anti-personnel mine. This is not a new but still relevant powerful weapon. It's also being installed with wires. The difference between them is that this mine causes damage in a circular radius. As an anti-tank blast, we have classic TM-62. They're quite powerful and reliable. They effectively stop the enemy's equipment. We traditionally carry out demolition work using the American explosive C4, a powerful explosive very good at destroying what needs to be destroyed. There is also Semtex, a European plastic explosive. This is a C4 analog, just a different manufacturer. Another classic of the genre is such a sapper tool as Shupy. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have taken it with me. No, wait, I always have it with me. At the front, the use of metal detectors is not always helpful because there is always a lot of metal, shrapnel around, and background noises everywhere. That's why such a thing as a dipstick helps. You feel the area, find a mine, observe it. The first rule of a military sapper: if you didn't put the mine, don't remove it. Why is that so? Because the enemy usually sets traps for sappers during mining. Under their mines, they install additional mines, and the consequences can be fatal. And when you try to remove the upper mine, the lower one is triggered under it. Therefore, we neutralize enemy mines immediately on the spot or drag them from a distance. Or it's drawn with explosives. With the help of C4, for example, we can demine it. Those who are engaged in sapper activities will prefer to be called sappers. Engineer is a multi-valued term. I smile at this because there are different engineers. There are engineers at factories. In the army, there are engineers who build pontoon bridges or make trenches. Engineer is a general word. It's correct, but sappers are pleased when they are told, "Look, the sapper goes. He or she is so great." It's something about fearlessness. What awaits us in demining after the end of the war? There will be a lot of work, which will be carried out by both military sappers and civilian organizations to clear our territory of everything that could pose a danger to the civilian population. It is very difficult to say how long it will take. Different experts, international organizations and Ukrainian ones give different terms, up to 300 years. In my personal opinion, it is impossible to calculate this way, because it is strange to compare it with examples of world wars. Technologies are developing very quickly now, and I hope that my great-grandchildren will be able to walk everywhere calmly and not be afraid that something might lie somewhere dangerous. Am I tired? Due to the specifics of our work, we have both a rest and work period. Therefore, physically, I will not say that I'm tired. My guys and I are ready to continue working. We all want to work. Morally, it's more difficult. What demoralizes us is the fact that the further you are from the front, and less people understand what's happening here, and more indifference spreads. It's not about all, of course, but most. There is no such thing as it was in 2022, when everyone came to us, despite the threats to their lives, and asked how to help. Then there were constant calls, messages on social networks. Well, the general fatigue has accumulated. It affects like a virus. The more it spreads and influences. You just have to remember that it's better to help the army that protects you than to give everything to the occupying army. And it all depends on each person. We, the military, do our job. Only this depends on us. We will continue to fulfill our tasks. But we are not all-powerful.